Good morning, everybody. It's Wednesday, and I'm always up early on Wednesdays because I go out walking, a long walk, but it's like 6 in the morning, and it's coffee time. I love coffee. Coffee's the reason why I get up. Um, I got a whole bunch of messages uh, regarding the video I made. So um, it's funny. It's funny. If anything, it proves my point. Um, I wanted to go through this because I just wrote down what some of the messages were. I didn't write down the entire messages, but you can see the reactions of people by uh, obviously, what they're writing. Let me just go down to some of them. I appreciate for those of you that write them down, even the messages, one way or the other. It's easier for me to answer this way than to write everything down. The reason being, obviously, I got 20 uh, on one side, I got another 10 on the other, but I got like another 24 personal messages. A lot of them repeat themselves. It's always usually the same thing. Some were pro, some were against. But let me just say to those who, were pro, let me just start with people. Let me start with, where do I start with? Let me put down here. Sorry, here I am with my glasses. All right, here's the number one. You don't understand, Adam. God told me personally, that's what he said. He had a vision. An angel came and told him that Trump was sent by God. I have no answer for you. I can't help you. Um, what can I tell you? I mean, if that doesn't give an answer to everything, so basically you're saying that God, for some reason or other, decided to talk to you, nobody else, in your church community, you know, and decided to, put Trump into power. This God told you this because what is it? What is it you wrote? You wrote, yes, Trump was sent by God, Adam. I understand he's imperfect, but God works in mysterious ways. He sure does. Let me tell you, I have no argument for that. You can continue to believe that. My personal point of view is, what can I tell you? I feel sorry for anybody that believes that the role of God is there. For me personally, the next stage will be Christian terrorism. It's like that's what Islamic terrorists tell them. Basically, that's God telling them. It's what any religious extreme group will tell you. God told me this, so I can't answer you. I'm stuck there. There's just nothing more to say to that part. Here's another one. You got to understand, Adam, that this is fighting socialism. Socialism equals communism. And then you do a copy paste of Elon Musk saying that Nazis were leftist socialists. What kind of answer is that? What the hell does that have to do with anything I said? Um, so for you, this is much bigger than. I don't understand. For some reason, you're saying. First, let me just start with this. Just because Elon Musk said it doesn't make it right. Okay, it's the biggest bullshit I've ever heard. I mean, you just took Elon Musk because Elon Musk said it. Well, let me give you a small history lesson. Um, the Nazis, the first people they arrested, were leftists and communists. That's right. Read it. Because he knew they would fight the regime. And he put those guys in jail first. And then he took homosexuals and Jews and everybody else. But he started with leftists and communists. He was not you put the word socialist in there. And all of a sudden, well, with the same logic, let's get rid of social studies because, it has social in there. What's the matter with you? Let's get rid of Social Security because that might be socialism. This is so stupid. And especially that Elon Musk said it. You send a copy paste. You can't even think yourself. So you send me a copy paste of Elon Musk. You're confusing wealth with wisdom. Okay, just because the guy's rich doesn't make him smart. I don't give a fuck who he is. What's the matter with you? Why do you take something like that just at face value? And you see this as a bigger thing. So these farm workers out there, when you're arresting them or controlling people and stuff like that, for you, that's fighting socialism? I'm just trying. If it is, then I can't answer that either. I can't answer that. A third one was, well, this wouldn't have happened if they weren't out there on the streets. Listen to this. This is more shocking than everything. This guy, um, they should be, if they were out there peacefully protesting, they weren't peacefully protesting. I didn't see any violence before that. They were trying to stop a police action, and he was taking out his gun before, and that's why they shot him. I must have seen a different video. I saw a different video. You're saying, well, if he tried to pull a gun on me, I would have shot him too. Well, look at that video again. Please send it to me personally as a message. Where exactly did he pull out that gun? You have the government spokesman today saying, it was a mistake. You're calling him this is reality. You're living in an alternative reality. It has nothing to do no longer with the facts. With a lot of these Trump guys here that I had the answer from, there's just no logic. He's actually telling you that happened in the video. He saw that in the video. Well, what can I tell you? If you saw that in the video, then, and I'm not against that these mistakes will happen, by the way. I'm against the guy having a mask and having impunity. You guys don't understand that. I've traveled to, like I said, over 70 countries. I don't have to give my Facebook to any of these countries. I don't have to tell them what I'm thinking or what I'm doing like that. Here we are in America, and you're doing it. You're doing it to me. And you're sitting there, well, that's not fascist. We're protecting ourselves from terrorists. What a bunch of bullshit. You guys are fooling yourself. You're in a sect. You guys live in a bubble. What can I tell you? Once you're telling me you can't see that video, you're saying, don't believe your eyes. This is George Orwell. Don't believe your eyes. That's what you're doing. You're not believing. You're telling me you can't see that. I'm sorry, I come from America where I believe in a good old car chase. You just don't pull out a gun and shoot somebody in the head. You guys are sick. I'm sorry, I love you, but you guys are sick. You don't even realize it. You're doing the best you can to excuse the unexcusable, because you're in a sect. I can't understand it any longer. You guys, you're living in a bubble where you're all talking to each other. You have no more contact to the outside world because you're all agreeing with each other. Even if there's nothing, you look at the video. What are you guys sick? Did you actually sit and talk to each other and say, you see how he pulled out that gun on the video? I mean, this is funny. This is funny, and it's just, let me go another one. And the entire answer to a 17-minute video from you is I have Trump derangement syndrome. Listen to this. This is the new thing. They can't answer. I made a 17-minute video. He can't take anything out of that video where I said what was wrong, and he just calls it, well, hell, that's what it is. That's exactly what it is. If it makes you feel better. Anybody that criticizes him obviously has this syndrome. How can it be any differently? Why would they else criticize this guru, your God, sent from God? God, I'm sorry I'm being like this, I didn't even prepare really in the morning. I just read the messages, put 6 things down. I just started laughing. I said, I got to make an answer video to this. And again, you guys are just ridiculous. You don't understand the issue. Like I said, you're getting impunity. These guys are masked agents. They're all over the place, and you guys are thinking that's normal. And I got another guy saying he thinks he's afraid he's going to get arrested. Ha ha ha. I made a 17-minute video, and he thinks that's the problem, that I'm not going there. It's not the issue. The issue is you can't. You don't just get arrested. You understand? And there's hundreds of cases. There's hundreds of cases, but that you actually have to justify all this. This is the beginning of a fascist state. You know it, I know it. Yet you're not willing to admit it. The control state. Big Brother's watching you. I'm living it. I have to go there now. Give me my Facebook page, Twitter page. Have I said anything bad? What is it? What is it I've said? These are the people from the government is overreaching and government is the bad guy and government, and you guys are just backpedaling like it's going out of style. I had another guy who did mention this. He goes, listen to this. Who cares about the Epstein files? You know how many pedophiles there are? Oh, what the fuck? That's a great argument. You know, I actually had that as an argument. You people won't believe the things that come out of these Trumpsters. This guy, though, was posting before the elections pictures of Hillary Clinton with, with Epstein. And now it's no longer an issue. Look at, you guys got no balls to turn around. And let me just give you another game. I'd love if one of you, I take you seriously, one of you, I think maybe all of you, if you could just criticize the guy. You can't criticize the guy. You guys, you love him. It's a passion. I can't, it's a religion. I'm laughing. I'm sorry. Maybe I should be taking this a little bit more seriously. But, and the people that are writing it, they're the ones that are least affected from all this shit. They're living they have no foreigners around, they're living in white neighborhoods. They don't have contact with blacks, Muslims, Jews, nothing like that. And these are the guys that are most afraid. It's so fucking funny. I'm living in an alternative reality. And that's another thing. One guy goes, Adam, that's fake news. I'm serious. He wrote down it was fake news. I was like, what the hell is this fake news? I go, this is fake news too. Anything we don't like, it's fake news. Alternative facts. This is something that the Trumpsters came up with. Alternative facts. White is now black. And that we just have to accept that. And because of Donald Trump says, if it was the biggest meeting we ever had, then, hey, if Donald Trump says, don't believe your eyes what the pictures tell you. Believe this guy. And anyway, a little bit about the facts. One guy goes, you're not interested in facts. You're just proving it because I made a long video before and you guys get stuck on one little thing with one sentence, with copy paste. You guys can't even answer logically. But one of them was, this is purely towards illegal immigrants and criminals. And I'm like, what the fuck is this? You really believe this? This is about illegal immigration. This has nothing to do with illegal immigration, and you know it. There's I try to be, a little bit informed. Please tell me if I'm wrong. There's 2.1 million illegal immigrants in Texas, 1.5 million in Florida, and yet he's in Minnesota where even the government thinks there's 150,000 of them. So he sends them to Minnesota. It has nothing to do that it was a Democratic governor, that it was Tim Walz. No, that's fake news. Because that would mean that maybe my guru has alternative, motive to do this. How could I think that? The holy Donald Trump, the man who's finally going to bring me back Greenland that I needed. My country, my people, we're so much better than we have Greenland now. That's taught me finally that the enemy is my next door neighbor, Canada. Jeez, I didn't figure this out before. But anyway, this is about illegal immigration, the ICE agents, and yet they're in Minnesota. They're not in Texas where there's 2.1. They're not in Florida where there's 1. He's sending them to and it's only Democratic places. You can't make this shit up. I'm sorry, let me have my coffee. Nothing better than coffee. That's it. I just had to write down those messages. Let me see if there's anything else. The Musks. Yeah. One guy wrote down, you know what, Adam? These people, they're burning down flags, and what do they expect? And I appreciate the message, and I understand the hate involved in that on both sides. But I do appreciate these types of messages more. But let me just say that regarding the burning the flag issue, I'm against that too. I really am. You might be shocked, but I don't like that. I don't care if it's a Greek flag, American flag, anywhere you burn a flag, you're burning down a symbol that a lot of people, attach to that. Is that part of their personalities? And, let's be honest, people have died for that flag for whatever reason, But if you want to protest, wash that flag. Now, that for me, like that, that's the answer to you. I'd love to see that. But, regardless of that, because every single country has dirty laundry. So I think it's a more powerful statement to wash the flag than to burn the flag. I don't know where that's coming from. But what does that fucking mean? Do I have to get to shoot him like that? Does that mean Trump is right? So I sent out. I keep sending this. I keep telling you people. You're not realizing it. These are ICE. These masked agents have no accountability. They have impunity. How can you support that? I don't understand that. And this one guy was a former policeman. He doesn't have impunity. He doesn't wear a mask. He doesn't get that safety. And if you still believe that it has with all of those factors, I feel sorry for you. And like I said, it's not that I'm scared that I'm going to get arrested. It's the justice that follows upwards. I don't want to deal with it. You guys don't understand. One guy, he's scared. Malaka, this is so stupid. You guys are not reading what I'm saying, not analyzing it. And I really doubt your intellectual ability to even go beyond that, to be a neutral person. I don't think you're capable because you're stuck in a bubble in a sect. All of you guys. Like, I know I'm going to get more of these. I don't care. To be honest with you, I don't make that many political statements, but this is ridiculous. Like I said, you're talking to a world traveler. This is ridiculous that you people are seeing that. You're stuck in your own little white middle class bubbles, and you're talking about domestic terrorism. Bullshit is that domestic? That's the new thing. We have narco-terrorism, right? That's a new word, narco. Well, it sounds better if we kill these guys, if we call them narco-terrorists, and telling them it's just your drug dealer. Because it doesn't sound as good, does it? But a narco-terrorist, that sounds powerful, We have Islamic terrorism. We have all this kind of terror, terror and domestic terrorism. And, all this, they're coming after you one day, I'm telling you. Domestic, that's the new thing, domestic terrorism. Let me tell you what, I've heard this from a good friend that I had, and he was like, man, a traveler, black guy that I know. And he was like, and he told me this when we were in Kenya. He says, what domestic terrorism is, man? He goes, being black. I go, what? He goes, yeah, being black in America is domestic terrorism. He goes, let me tell you. He goes, Ku Klux Klan is legal. He goes, white brotherhood, white Aryan brotherhood, all these groups. He changed my mind. That's what happens when you learn. He goes, all these groups are legal. He goes, First Amendment. I go, yeah, that's just, he goes, I tell you. He goes, imagine if it was the Islamic State and they armed themselves. Imagine if it was the Black Panthers that armed themselves. You would have these guys arrested in a heartbeat. In a heartbeat, you'd have them arrested. You know exactly who they are. But these guys are not domestic terrorists. No, it's the guy working in the fields. Another one is so convinced, he's in a bubble, that they only arrest criminals. He really believes, not the illegal workers. I'm like, what's the matter with you? These are illegal workers. I mean, everybody knows this, There are even children being sent abroad, No, they live in an alternative reality where nothing matters. Even the Epstein files don't matter. Like I said, all of a sudden, nothing matters to these people. Somehow they think he's the anti-system. I can't explain it. I'm going to go out and run. I'm waiting for the sun to come up. Usually I do stretching and yoga at this moment. Yeah, that's just about it. And you guys just killed the Second Amendment, by the way. For the one of you, you know who I mean, the big, the gun-toting fan of mine. Everything's about the Second Amendment, right? And it's about getting the job done. The guys out there. It's funny because I don't even, personally, I'm against guns. I don't need guns in my territory to make me feel safe, and I'm not going to be a counter-revolutionary, in a fake war, pretending that I'm that guy. But I'm just talking about you people that have the Second Amendment so holy. He just put, a hole in your Second Amendment and the First Amendment and the right to protest. He basically just took that away from you. He said, don't go there with a gun. You guys are fucking ridiculous. It just goes to show that you're more interested in just sticking it to the libs. You're stuck in this bubble of a war. It's a fictional war that you're in. You think you're fighting some evil person, It's your neighbor, Malaka. It's your neighbor. They're not evil. You guys are not evil. I'm just saying you guys are you're stuck in a bubble. I'm surprised you don't see it. I'm speaking honestly because, geez, I make mistakes everywhere in life. You guys never make mistakes, though, do you, huh? You guys are just, I don't understand it. Let me give you an example of what balls means. Balls means, well, man, maybe I made a mistake. You know, maybe I did make a mistake. I know a guy who was a good friend, Peter. I'll mention the name. He knows who he is. Ex-Vietnam vet. He had the boss turn around and say, when he went to Vietnam, he was 100% against these commies and stuff like that. And he went 180. He said, oh, that was stupid. That was wrong. Takes balls. Takes balls, let me tell you. I had another person saying, hey, my dad was in the KKK and stuff like that. I know what you're talking about, Adam. That takes balls. You guys don't have the balls. You can't criticize this guy. You can't. None of you can criticize him. You'll excuse him. There's a difference. You'll excuse him. But you won't criticize him because you're in a sect. It's just funny. I said, even your numbers don't count. You're going, let me just tell the one guy who's saying, it's about time we got rid of all these illegal. I'm like, all right, let's look at the numbers. Did you ever go, please do this yourself? You had Obama getting rid of more illegal immigrants. It was like 300, 400,000 a year. Dude, read it. It was like 2.5 million in 8 years. You know how many we've gotten rid of this year? How many do you think? It's less than 100,000. It's less than half of what Obama managed to do without having a national, division and thousands of people out on the streets. You guys are fucking idiots. He's not even doing such a good job of what you want. And he's taking away your Second Amendment. Yet you guys will still support him. It's pathetic. It's pathetic. And here's another one. Oh, well, I actually had the numbers here. I get with the impunity, with guns. Protesting with a gun. You shouldn't do that. Well, Jesus Christ. What about the 6th of January? You guys should have all been shot under that logic. I just Googled, before I came on here, I Googled protests with guns, open and carrying guns. Oregon, 2020. Montana, 2020. Virginia, 2017, 2020. Mississippi, 2020. Maryland, 2023. They're all open carry. Ain't 6th of January. This is a 2-minute Google. This comes up. There, by the way, it came out to I think 3,000 cases. Your Republican gun-toting, oh, Donald Trump said it. You guys are just ridiculous. The other one, like I said, Trump, even the Epstein files don't count anymore. Nothing counts anymore except for sticking it to your neighbor. The libs. Some imaginary evil person that you guys are living for in a war. Yeah, that's about it. Again, people, I'm going to beg some of you to be a little bit cynical. I've said this because one guy wrote, well, what are you, Adam? You're just a Democrat. Why do you put labels on people? Why? You love to put that, you want to know what I am? I'm a skeptical, cynical son of a bitch. I don't trust the Democrats. People that know me, I didn't trust them. And I certainly don't trust these guys either. That's right. I'm still an old man. Well, that was one of the great. Adam goes, you're old. You don't understand. This is from a 38-year-old. How can I argue with that? I am old. I'm 63. Yes, my point of view is different from a 38-year-old. Of course. I'm so old. In fact, my Greek cousins can verify this. I used to wipe my ass with toilet paper was newspaper. That's right, newspaper. We used to cut it out in square pieces, and that's the stuff we used, But that's what's made us Greek, my cousins, we're all intelligent because our asses know how to read. But yeah, I'm old. And let me tell you, because I'm old, let me just give you this. You've heard of deja vu? Well, being old now, I'm going into the deja mu phase. Deja mu is, I've heard this bullshit before. Okay? And hopefully you'll get to be my age and you'll say the same thing. But People get off your internet, man. Come on, get out of those hate things. You're just like, oh, I'm on the internet. Yeah, but 70% of the stuff that I see is documentaries. The other 20, 30%, I just read. Um, uh, I don't go into TikTok negative hate things. I just block them out because I think they're bullshit. I'll actually go read an article about it. It might be 6, 7, 8 pages long. I'm a member of the Journal of History where I have to pay, but I get, historical documents, magazines, and stuff like that. I go into the Times of India. I read the Hindustan Times. I read the Jerusalem Post, Al Jazeera. I read a lot. Maybe it's wrong, but I do read a lot. And the more I read, the less I understand. And that's why I'm so, the more I read, the less I understand. And I'm so fascinated that you guys fucking know everything. You Trump guys know everything. And everything else is fake news. And, we're changing the things, and, you don't see any deflection on your side. You don't see any hypocrisy. You don't see any negativism. But you guys are fans. I love the guy. I think that's it. I don't know how long is this video? God, it's almost half an hour. I didn't want to make it that long. All right, everybody. That's it. I'm not going to answer any more of these videos. I think I did enough. I was surprised I got that much of a reaction. To all you Trump fans, I'm sorry, and I know some of you took it personally, and I realize that was hard. But like I said, I'm trying to be that guy. And you ever see those contests, talent contests, where they have no talent, man? You're thinking if they had one friend would have told them, God, man, don't go out there. You fucking suck. I'm trying to be that friend. People do talk behind your back. And I'm telling you, this is the reality. This is not a soap opera. You guys are seeing this as a soap opera of winning and losing and a good guy. This is reality. And, I don't want to pretend I'm better. It's not. It's just, my travels have made me see this. And it's not because I've seen this shit before. I'm telling you, you don't see it. Nothing's like this has ever happened in my generation, in my time. And I keep insisting, I will not go to a country at this point that's going to ask me, give me your Facebook, your home pages, everything ahead of time. I'm going to check on who you are and if I agree with you. And if I don't agree with you, you're not going to come in. No, guys, you guys don't see it. This is George Orwell shit, man. I'm telling you. You guys don't see where that state that you hate. Most of these Republicans were the anti-state people. They're creating the state. This is the best way to do it, And watch how the Second Amendment just disappears because of their blind faith. Watch. And like I said, for some of you, the guys that are saying, he shouldn't have violently protest a policeman. There's something wrong with you, seriously. Seriously, don't try to excuse. Is it that difficult? Can one of you just turn around and criticize him? You're not capable of criticizing him. You just swallow everything he says and regurgitate the piece of shit that's coming out. I mean, you have a government spokesman that's absolutely lying. They're calling the guy a domestic. This guy is a domestic terrorist now. Anyway, I'm going to go out. Jog. It's supposed to rain. It's not jog. It's jog, walk. It's getting too old for that. Planning my next trip. This will be a long video. Get off the subject a little bit. Countries I've decided to go to now that I'm looking at least. I'm looking at Southeast Asia, the countries that I haven't been to, because I've been to almost all of them. Haven't been to the Philippines. Haven't been to Vietnam. And I haven't been to Laos. So I'm thinking about hitting those 3. I looked at that. I also did look into South America. Again, the countries that I haven't seen, that would have been the southern part, Argentina, Chile, Brazil, and Uruguay are missing on the South America list. I'm still thinking about coming maybe for the World Cup, not to the US, but maybe Mexico or Canada. I'm looking into that as well. And I'm also looking at the Trans-Siberian. So I haven't decided. I'm going to do that probably like in September, October. This is the first time I'm not traveling during the spring or the winter. Got to take care of my things. I'm retiring. Probably going to give up my residency here in Germany, move permanently to Greece. And yeah, that's it. Life is good. Life is happy. I feel blessed. I feel like, the world has been too good to me. Really, I mean, there's nothing that's missing in my life. There's a lot of thankfulness for what I have. Maybe if I'm angry sometimes because other people aren't as thankful for what they have. You know what I mean? If there's any bitching that I have to do, that's that bitching. I see a lot of people always, not just being thankful for what they have. Um, so everybody be thankful for what you have, and enjoy your day. And hopefully, please don't answer this. You don't have to write a lot of comments, especially personal comments on my messenger. I'd appreciate it. I mean, especially because I do a lot of private stuff, and I wake up in the morning and I see like 38 of them. And it's like, whoa, how do I answer this? But again, I tried to answer those. I don't know if, especially God told me one, and that I have a Trump derangement syndrome. Maybe it was trained. You have Trump deity syndrome. How's that? It's like Kagan, he's your deity. He's your God. He, unfallible. All right, guys. Have a good day.